Hey, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And today I'm going to be doing another movie roundup video where I talk about the movies, animes, and TV shows I watched in July, in the last week or so. Starting off, I watched Flowers of Shanghai, or Hai Shanghua, directed by Taiwanese director Hsiao-Hsien. First of all, this is a very special movie because it's just one of those movies that just don't feel like a movie. This is an art house, ultra slow-paced 2-hour period film about a brothel in Shanghai during the 1880s. There is minimal editing and there are not a lot of close-ups. The camera is very fluid and dreamlike and there is barely a story. Yeah, it is a very challenging film, and this is definitely one of the most challenging films I've ever watched in my life, in my opinion, but I still enjoyed it somewhat because of the atmosphere. I feel like this is exactly what the movie's trying to do. It's to create an atmosphere more so than to create a narrative, so I don't really know. I'm gonna have to rewatch this again, but for now, I kinda enjoy it. I think 8 out of 10. Next up, when I was still in the quarantine hotel, I watched The Departed, directed by Martin Scorsese. So yeah, The Departed is a remake of a Hong Kong classic film, Infernal Affairs, and yes, I still prefer Infernal Affairs over The Departed. But that being said though, The Departed is still great. The editing is top-notch and the performances are amazing. All of them did an amazing job. And if anyone can do a proper American remake, it's gotta be Martin Scorsese. So you know what? I still enjoy it, and I still admit that I enjoy it. 9 out of 10. Next up, I finished watching Spy Family. Mangaka is Endo Tatsuya and adapted by Wit Studio and Cloverworks. Yeah, everybody's talking about this anime, and guess what? I enjoyed this anime as well. This is a fun, entertaining little anime. It's not the most groundbreaking or interesting anime ever, and some episodes are a bit less well written than the others, but overall it is still very fun and very nice, and I love the voice acting, and some of the scenes are hilarious, genuinely, and I enjoy it. 8 out of 10. Then I watched Woman in the Dunes, or Suna no Onna, directed by Teshigahara Hiroshi. This is a fascinating psychological drama / thriller about working and labor and living. The score by Takemitsu Toru is eerie and ominous, and this is definitely one of the best aspects of the film for me. I also really love the cinematography and editing. They are all really well done. Overall, this is a very thought-provoking film about the human condition, and I want to rewatch this as well. 9 out of 10. Then I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, directed by John Hughes, because once in a while, after watching so many artsy slow films, I gotta watch something mainstream, I gotta watch something famous, so I went with this one. You know, I usually hate American teen dramas, and I'm usually not for comedies or anything like that, but this one is just too much fun. There are so many memorable scenes. There's a dance scene in the middle of the movie where Ferris Bueller dances in the middle of New York, and it was a blast. I had fun watching that scene. And yeah, Ferris Bueller is a very bad person. He is toxic, he is manipulative, and he is terrible. And the movie is very morally bankrupt. But that doesn't necessarily take my enjoyment of the film away. I still think Ferris Bueller sucks, and I still think this movie sucks morally, but for my enjoyment, I still enjoyed it. 8 out of 10. Then I watched Incantation, or Zhou, directed and written by Ke-Rong. Incantation is a Taiwanese horror film that incorporates elements of Buddhism and Chinese folk religions, and that is something that I've been wanting to write and direct when I grew up since a very long time ago. Now, the story is not perfect, but what I love about this movie is that the design is great. The design is fantastic. And some of the scares are really effective. And overall, this is definitely one of the scarier horror movies I've ever watched. So I'm impressed with this one, and I hope to see more Chinese-themed horror film coming out. 7 out of 10. After that, I finally came back home to my actual home in Hong Kong. And the first thing I did was to watch a movie, of course. And that movie is Broker, directed by Kore-eda Hirogatsu. So a Japanese director decided to direct a Korean film. And it's great! This is a heartwarming and tender film about a bunch of human traffickers. Yeah, the movie certainly has a fair share of human depth and moral ambiguity. And even though the story is a bit of a mess, overall this is definitely one of the better movies I've seen from this year, with amazing performances from Song Kang-ho and IU. 8 out of 10. Then I watched Happy Together, or春光乍洩, directed by the one and only legendary director Kar-Wai. This is unlike any other Kar-Wai films I've ever seen. This is the most chaotic and aggressive film from the guy. So if you went into this film looking for dreaminess, I'm sorry, but you will be disappointed. And yeah, for me, it also took me quite a while to get used to the very aggressive and chaotic style of this film. And this is also the kind of film that you wouldn't really enjoy a lot when you're watching, but you end up really enjoying it a lot when you think about it. Aside from that, I think the color grading is gorgeous, and I think the musical choices are fantastic. I also think that Tony Leung and Leslie Joe share a lot of chemistry in this movie, and this will definitely go down as one of the best LGBTQ Hong Kong films of all time. 9 out of 10. Afterwards, I finally freaking watched Decision to Leave, or Hyeojil Kyorshim, directed by legendary Korean director Park Chan-Wook. And damn, wow, holy shit, this is my second favorite film of the year so far. This is amazing. Some of the best cinematography and editing I've seen all year. The scene transitions in this movie will get you salivating, especially if you're an editor. It's just gonna blow your mind. I also love how quirky and artsy it is. Sure, this movie is rather tame in terms of its sex and violence, but there's still a lot of content to unfold, and I really like the neo-noir elements. It just adds so much flavor to the film. Overall, I freaking love it. 9 out of 10. And earlier, about an hour ago, I finally finished watching The Boys Season 3, which is based off of the comic written by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson and developed by Eric Kripke for Amazon Prime. And yeah, I'm gonna review this TV show like a minute later, but yeah, anyways, this is the most riveting and exciting season of The Boys so far. There's a lot of character developments for nearly all the characters. The stakes are super high, it's full of twists and turns, and I love the season overall. It's super mainstream, but super good. Just super. 9 out of 10. And also, I originally planned to watch Kagemusha by Kurosawa Akira, but unfortunately, I just don't have the time for that. And no, I will not postpone watching it to next month. So I probably won't be watching it until later this year or maybe next year. And that is pretty much all for July. What did you watch in July? Comments below, let me know. And thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want more.